Sky plunged his fingers directly into the vulnerable eye sockets. Sprunki, Crimson, Cataclysm. Cataclysm. You know the mod. It's by UC Cat. Now, we actually premiered this on BigBLore. Hopefully, you're subscribed to BigBLore. And yo, welcome to BigBLore. Hopefully, you're subscribed here as well. Yo, thank you all so much for 21K. You all are amazing. All right, so here it is. So this has secret lore. So we gotta check it out. We have to. I mean, so here it is. Here's a list of the credits. So the mod was made in literally 2 days. Director, designer, composer, animator, coder, cutscene maker, and others. So UC Cat, yo, he did it. He actually did it. So this is it. Was there an actual cutscene to this? I'm tripping. Oh wait, the bios. The bios. Did we ever check the gallery? Oh God. Wait, this is Arya, not brought from the multiverse. Okay, let's put in Orin. Orin missing his head and his eyeball. All right, let's check the bios. I'm excited for this. So name, Orin, verge of death. After a harrowing confrontation with Owax, did Owax do this? That cost him one of his eyes. He remains severely broken and bloody. Now alongside Rogel, he is forced into desperate flight from their relentless pursuers. With his vision impaired and his strength fading, will he manage to survive? Goodbye, Orin. I actually don't think he's gonna survive. I have faith in my boy, but I just don't know. Ratty. Ooh. Ratty, mutated. Driven to the brink of madness by his mutation, he lashed out in a frenzy, eventually arming himself with a scavenged axe. Yikes. That's crazy. It's so good to see exactly like... Wait. Doesn't Clucker freak out yet? Oh, it's so unexpected too. Clucker also mutated. Yo, his danger's 2,000. Ratty's is only 100. The project to research an unknown substance in collaboration with Garnell ultimately ended in a disaster. A horrific laboratory accident led to Clucker's infection, transforming him into a crazed mutant monster. Yikes. Yeah, that's crazy. Funbot. I'm curious to know what happened to Funbot. Also mutated. Severely altered by the mutation, he now fights an internal battle, using his last shred of self-control to restrain the monster within. Ooh. Vineria. Her chest is... I wonder who did this to Vineria. I'm thinking it was Ratty, but at this point, we don't know. So, dead. She met a gruesome end at Arya's hands. A gaping wound torn into her chest laid her internal organs bare, while her sightless hollowed out of sockets bore witness to the brutality of the attack. So Arya did this. She did this. Oh. Oh no. Gray. This must have been Ratty, right? Gray, dead. Sky did it. Sky lashed out with a knife, leaving him riddled with multiple slash wounds. Blood streamed from his damaged eyes, and his eyes had been savagely mangled. It was a scene of utter carnage. Nah. But gotta remember, this goes crazy. Ooh. Nah, this is a fire mod. Brud. All right, let's see what happened to Brud. Dead. Danger 0.5. Okay. In a display of pure savagery, Simon tore the flesh from his face, leaving him unrecognizable. Before he could even react, Ratty stepped into the ruthless, wrenched his eyes from his sockets, plunging him into a world of agonizing darkness. What? All right, Garnell. Uh-oh. Garnell, alive, traumatic. Watching Clucker succumb to the mutation right before his eyes, he was paralyzed by his own helplessness. Consumed by a crushing sense of guilt for failing to save his friend, he found himself spiraling toward a dark, Terminal. Resolve. Don't do it. 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 I kind of forgot how crazy Owax is, but when you see Owax now and then you look at Orin, of course this happened to Orin. All right, mutated. His mouth split open into cavernous, unnatural maw, stretching far beyond the limits of human flesh. A cold, palpable evil radiated from him, as if the very soul had been replaced by something predatory. Yikes. Sky. I just remember that Sky had a knife. So Sky's the one that lashed out on Gray. Messed up. Messed up. Semi-mutated. Danger 450. The infection claimed him, leaving only half his face under his control. He managed a silent witness within his own shell, forced to watch in agony as his treacherous body slaughtered his closest friends. He can't even control one half of his body. His heart didn't just break, it shattered under the weight of guilt he could not escape. That's why he's crying in one eye, evil in the other eye. That's crazy. Mr. Sun. Mutated. So he was a dying sun, a radiant pulsing core of crimson energy. Though his body burned with a light that could illuminate the darkest void, the heat was a constant reminder of the humanity he had sacrificed to the infection. Oh. Durple. Under relentless assault of Sky's knife, he was slashed repeatedly until his entire head and body were drenched in a layer of thick, crimson blood. Yo. Mr. Tree? Alive. Mr. Tree's alive. He was a tree with roots too deep to leave and a heart too human to bear the sight. One by one, his friends perished before him, and all he could do was shed his leaves in a silent, heartbreaking lament. Wow. That's tough. Tough. Simon. Mutated. Danger 1000. Following his horrific mutation, he underwent a sinister awakening. His mind, now fractured and fueled by an unstable bloodlust, turned him into a force of absolute evil that thrived on the suffering of those unfortunate enough to cross his path. Yikes. Yo, this squad is straight up like... straight up crazy. Tunner. Injured. A searing fury ignited within him, fueled by the wreckage of everything he loved. No longer willing to stand by, he was consumed by a desperate, burning resolve to save every last shred of the world before it all turned to ash. Mr. Funkcomputer. He collapsed under Sky's assault, his internal systems hemorrhaging a thick, fluorescent blue liquid. A vibrant fluid stained the dirt, glowing with the dying light that signaled his primary power cells were failing. Yikes. Yo, Sky straight up slashed out on everything. Winda? The brains, though, that you can see through the eyes. Like, who did this? Winda, dead. With a sickening wet sound, Sky plunged his fingers directly into the vulnerable eye sockets, violently rupturing the spheres that held sight. Sky brutally disemboweled the contents of her head from within, tearing through muscle and neural links in a shower of crimson blood, discarded masses of tissue and fractured bits of skull until only the raw, pulsing mass of brain remained, precariously cradled within a cage of stark, white, exposed bone fragments. She got the full autopsy report done on her. Oh my goodness. Pinky. Definitely Sky did this. Injured. She barely clung to a life after Sky's blade tore a jagged crimson line across her chest. Gasping for air through the searing pain, she managed to stumble away into the shadows, only to realize the true horror of her escape. In the chaotic haze of blood and screams, she had been cut off from her boyfriend and her son, leaving her utterly alone in a world that had just become a nightmare. Nah, Sky went crazy. And Sky was only half mutated. Imagine if he was fully mutated. Jevin, dead. He met a gruesome end at Ratty's hands. His life extinguished. The scavenged axe. That makes sense. In a spray of crimson, the heavy blade of the axe had been driven into his skull, and with such savage force that his head was left a hollowed, unrecognizable ruin, and his left eye torn away in carnage, to leave only a dark, leaking void. Nah, that's actually savage. And Black, nobody knows what he did. UC Cat, here it is. Wait, let's put in UC area, and we put in T by friends, 10 by friends. Let's see, UC Cat, alive. He stood trembling in the ruins of the world, surrounded by ghosts of his past. The realization was suffocating, and he was terrified because all his friends had either mutated into unrecognizable monsters or died in chaos, leaving him as a sole witness to a tragedy he couldn't stop. Yikes. Area. The mutated into a monster that can only smile. Yeah, she comes from Sprunki Multiverse of Evil 2.5. I want to find a mod for her where she should belong. Great. 10 by friends. Injured. The physical agony of his arm, eyes paled in comparison to the horror before him. Stumbling through the ruins, he was terrified that the world had truly become this twisted, broken version of itself. He prayed it was a hallucination caused by his wounds, yet the screams of the scent of decay told him this nightmare was all too real. Wow, that's what you think. I mean, you gotta think of the smell of all this stuff. I mean, footlong. Pink eye. His eye was injured. His ear was bitten open, from which cheese sauce oozed. He was furious and wanted to resolve everything quickly. I'd also be angry too. Rogel. Oh. Verge of death. His half of his face was ripped away by Owax, leaving behind a horrific ruin of exposed bone and shredded muscle. There was no longer a mouth to shape the sounds, only a raw, gaping void where his jaw had been. His agonizing screams erupted as a wet guttural howl echoing through the air with the primal intensity that told the pain far beyond human endurance. Yikes. And we got myself in here. Yo, we in. Ooh. I'm alive though. I'm alive. He was terrified when he saw the disaster. Hey. Yo, this was fire. This is such a great mod, UC Cat. Yo, keep it up. I can't believe Sky did, like, now knowing what happened, this is kind of messed up. It's actually messed up. Like, actually crazy. Yo, we out.